Hello students, in this video we will learn about the Indian river system. Indian river system, as you know, is very broad and can be learned into two parts. The rivers in the northern parts of India and the rivers in the southern parts of the India. The northern parts of the river is mainly the Himalayan rivers, and the southern parts of the India, the rivers are called peninsular rivers. We shall in the first video learn about the Himalayan rivers, the rivers found in the northern part of India. In northern part of India, we shall study about the river Indus River in the northwestern part. Second, in the middle part is the Ganga River, and the third river is Brahmaputra River. We shall also learn about its tributaries, basin, Indus Basin, Ganga Basin, and Brahmaputra Basin. Before we go in details of this river, first of all, we try to understand what is drainage. Drainage, actually the river system of an area, particular area. When you will notice the small stream flowing from the different directions come together to form the main river, which actually drains into a large water body such as lake or a sea or an ocean. The area drained by a single river system is called drainage basin. Closer observation of map will indicate that elevated area such as mountain or an uplands system separates the drainage basins, such as upland is known as a water divide, which divides the water into water basins into two different geographical locations. First, we have to understand these drainage systems are basically responsible for the basins in the northern part of the India, particularly in the northern western part, then northern middle part, and northern eastern part. These rivers in the northern part of India are perennial rivers. These rivers are getting water from the snow from the Himalaya, and secondly from the rain. That's why these rivers are perennial rivers. More or less, they are getting water around the year. These rivers originates from the Himalaya valleys and moving downwards. With it, there are a lot of depositions material are also coming from the northern Himalayas towards the lower plains. In due course of their movement from up to down movements, they are forming many meanders and oxbow lakes. Meanders are those areas, circular areas, and the oxbow is the part which cut off from this area, like this one. In this video, you can see this is a oxbow area. This is the process. The river is moving from up to down, like this way, but after some time, this area is cut off from the main river, and this ox shape is called Oxbow Lake. This is the called Oxbow Lake. It comes out from the main river. The gap between the two arms narrow and erosion is there, and this area cut off area is called Oxbow Lake, and this main river is continue. So later on, this is the different from the main river, and this forms the lake. Now we talk about the Himalayan rivers. The major Himalayan rivers are the Indus River, the Ganga River, and Brahmaputra River. These rivers are long and are joined by many large and important tributaries. The river, along with its tributaries, may be called river system. First, we talk about the Indus River. Look in this picture. This is Indus River. This is a river is moving from the Himalaya range towards the Pakistan and then in the Arabian Sea here, Karachi. These rivers have many tributary rivers also with it. Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, and Satluj. And there is Beas River. These all rivers collectively moves towards the Pakistan and later its confluence is there, and it moves down towards the Arabian Sea. The river Indus rises in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar. From here, it rises from this place. It's a Mansarovar flowing west. It enters India in the Ladakh district of Jammu and Kashmir. Here it is Jammu and Kashmir. It enters from Mansarovar to Kashmir region, and then it forms a picturesque gorge in this part. Several tributaries, the Jaskar, Nubra, Siok, and the Hunza, join it in the Kashmir region. The Indus flow through Baltistan and Gilgit and emerge from the mountain at Tok. The Satluj, the Beas, the Ravi, the Chenab, and the Jhelum join together to enter the Indus near the Mithalkot in Pakistan. Beyond this, Indus flows southward, eventually reaching the Arabian Sea east of Karachi. Here at last, the Indus plain have a very fertile slope. This is a very fertile slope. In this whole area, there is a lot of agriculture work is going on, and soil is very fertile due to river. The Indus is one of the longest river of the world. A little over a third of the Indus basin is located in India, is in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, and rest of Pakistan. This is the area. Here we have Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab region here and downwards, and the Himachal region here. So this area is very fertile area due to the availability of the water and the basin of this river Indus. Whole area is fertile. After the division of India, the one third part of this basin lies in Indian subcontinent. The whole area is Indian subcontinent, but the one third part of the basin lies in India, and three-fourth area is in the Pakistan. This whole area is fertile due to the water availability and the rivers like Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, Indus River. It supplies water around the year. These rivers are perennial rivers due to snow and rainfall. The next river system is Ganga. The headwaters of the Ganga, called the Bhagirathi, is fed by the Gangotri glacier and joined by the Alaknanda at Devprayag in Uttaranchal. At Haridwar, the Ganga emerges from the mountain on the plains. The Ganga is joined by many tributaries from the Himalayas, a few of them being major rivers such as Yamuna, Ghagar, Gandhak, Kosi. The river Yamuna rises from the Yamutri glacier in the Himalayas. It flows parallel to the Ganga and, as a right bank tributary, meets the Ganga at Allahabad. That is, Allahabad confluence is there. The the Gandhak, the Kosi, the Ghagar rise in the Nepal Himalaya. They are the rivers which flood parts of the northern plains every year, causing widespread damage to life and the property by enriching the soil for the intensive agricultural land. The main tributaries which comes from the peninsular uplands are the Chambal, the Betwa, the Son. These rise from semi-arid areas, have shorter courses, and do not carry much water in them. Enlarged with the waters from its right and left banks tributary, the Ganga flows eastwards till Farakka in West Bengal. This is the northmost point of the Ganga Delta. The river bifurcates here. The Bhagirathi Hooghly, this is a distributary here, flows southwards through the deltanic plains to the Bay of Bengal. The main streams flow southwards into the Bangladesh and is joined with the Brahmaputra further downstream. It is known as a Meghna. There its name is changed and is called Meghna. This mighty river with waters from the Ganga and the Brahmaputra flows into the Bay of Bengal. The delta formed by these rivers is known as Sundarban Delta. The length covers the river over almost 2500 kilometer, and you can see the Ganga river comes this area, Ganga rivers area, is from Ambala to the south up to Sundarban. It is almost 1800 kilometer, 1800 kilometer, and it has a slope of nearly 300 meter. In other words, only 1 meter in 6 kilometers. In this way, we understand in this picture also, the river flows from the Devprayag here, Rishikesh, Haridwar, Kanpur, Allahabad, Varanasi, Patna, and then Kolkata. In this picture, we can see there's tributary rivers also. Yamuna river is running parallel to the Ganga, and it moves from here and then UP, and in the lower part it also combines from the Himalayas, from the Nepal side, Kosi rivers, Gandhak river, Tista river, and from the highlands like Chambal and Betwa from MP side, and the Son river. It all combines with the Ganga river here and in Patna, and then it moves towards the West Bengal. In this river, look here in this map, mouth of the Ganges. Here it goes down. Yes, Damodar river also combines, and this here in Dhaka, and it goes down the mouth of the Ganges. Here it goes in the Bay of Bengal. In this way, we understand that this Ganga having the big basin from the northwestern part to the eastern part of the India, and it covers many tributary rivers also, and it covers this land with lot of water because of this tributary. Some tributaries are not perennial, but most of the tributaries which runs from the Himalayas, snow water is always there, and it is running round the year. Sometimes Son and Kane and this Betwa rivers having less water in the summer season, but lot of the water from the northern rivers from moving from Himalaya, and this way Ganga goes in sea, Bay of Bengal. The next basin is Brahmaputra basin. This basin is in the further north of Ganga basin. From here it is a light green in color, Ganga basin, and then this is a Brahmaputra basin. This river is moving from here like that in the Arunachal Pradesh. It enters in India, and then in the Bangladesh, and then it goes in the sea. The Brahmaputra rises in Tibet east of Mansarovar Lake, very close to the source of Indus and Satluj River. It is slightly longer than the Indus River, and most of its course lies outside India. It not comes in the India. It is going out of the India here, and it flows eastward parallel to the Himalayas. On reaching the Namach Barwa, Namcha Barwa, it is a Namcha Barwa. It takes U-turn and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh. From here, it enters in India, Arunachal Pradesh, through a gorge. Here it is called a Dihang, the river locally known by the name Dihang, and it is joined by the Dihang, the Lohit, and the Kenula, and many other tributaries to form the Brahmaputra in Assam. In Tibet, the river carries a smaller volume of water and less silt, as it is a cold and dry area. In India, it passes through a region of high rainfall. Here, the river carries a large volume of water and considerably amount of silt. The Brahmaputra had a braided channels, sharp channels are there, in its entire length in Assam and forms many riverine islands. Every year during the rainy season, the river overflows its bank, causing widespread devastation due to flood in Assam and Bangladesh. Unlike other northern Indian rivers, the Brahmaputra is marked by huge deposits of silt on its bed, causing the river bed to rise. The river also shifts its channel frequently. It's moving very sharp. From here, in next picture, we can see in detail. This river is coming from the Mansarovar, Tibet, and it's moving out of India. From here, this red line going up here, and then he enters from this side, Arunachal Pradesh, and then it moves in the Assam area, and later on it enters in the West Bengal here, and this way it enters into again it combines with the Ganga, and then they goes in the Bay of Bengal. So it is also a basin, the upper basin of India. Matlab, you can say it is the upper part of the northeast of India. It is mainly goes in the northeast part of the India and supplies water around the year. So in this video we have covered three river basin: the Brahmaputra, the Ganga, and the Indus. These three rivers are perennial rivers. The water is available in these rivers round the year. More or less, these rivers are moving fast, carrying water, silt, and lot of deposits with it. The Himalaya, these all three rivers are Himalayan rivers. In next video, we shall cover the peninsular rivers like Narmada, Tapti, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri, and other lakes of India. Okay, students, thank you.